Hello, hello, and welcome to PolyAmAreWe, the podcast which explores polyamory and ethical non-monogamy from a male emotional perspective. In with us today, we have the wonderful, the amazing, the fantastic wife woman who is Nash. Again, say hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Okay, we all do it our own way, like this lifestyle. So what are we deep diving into today? We are going to be looking at the 5 love languages. We'll explore where this idea came from, and it's all thanks to a Dr. Gary Chapman, and discuss how we can apply these love languages to polyamorous and ethical non-monogamous relationships. So Nash, you've got a bit of an insight into what these love languages are all about. Give us a rundown of what the 5 love languages are and what they mean.
Well, basically, I think it's important to say that these 5 love languages are more about... They're even important to know them, even as a way to know better yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's for any kind of relationship at the end of the day. And it's basically just a tool to understand how we give love and how we receive love. Okay. So basically, we are just talking about languages. And the Dr. Gary Chapman, basically, he find out that was the people in general have these 5 love languages. We all could have the 5 of them, but in different kind of percentage. So mainly, each person will have 1 to 2 main love languages.
Okay.
And the most important part is to know which one is your love language, is because basically it's like, let's just translate it to a normal language, let's say Spanish. If you know that you speak Spanish, but I speak Spanish and English, and you only speak English. If I try to talk to you every time just in Spanish, even for many, I try to explain you everything or whatever I tell you my day today.
I'm not going to know what's going on. Exactly. I'd be like, ¿cuál es un zapato?
Yeah, you will see,
Porrito.
You will of course understand some things, you will receive some things, but you won't understand it. So basically, now I speak English as well, so I can communicate more about giving you love in your language, like you can understand it better.
Okay, so like I did one of these love language tests earlier on today, like I did one months ago as well, and just to see how it ties up, because I was talking to a friend of mine, and they were saying they routinely do a love language test every few months or so to see if anything has changed in what they want or need from their partner. So doing mine, I went through all the questions, and sure enough, it came out again as words of affirmation is my love language. That's what I feel I want to receive from partners, whether it's, kind words or notes to boost my confidence in some way. Because, now and again, I need a bit of that confidence boost.
I think so. We all need it.
Yeah.
So basically, the languages are 5, the main ones. Mm-hmm. You can have a test online to check which one is your main one. And as well, it's very nice to know the love language of your partner, because is one way how we give love, and the other one is how we receive love.
Yeah, that was where I was thinking on, where like I'd be my giving would be another love language altogether, whereas my receiving is a certain way. And I think most people would be like that, where they'll give one way of expressing love, but like to receive a different way.
Yeah, it can be. Like some people will be the same, some people will be different, but once that you understand it, it's an easier way to know what is your needs, what do you want, and that is easier to ask to your partner. And that is where it comes the ethical part, that if you know better yourself, it's easier to know what's your needs.
Yeah, well, I suppose when these were written, I mean, when was it? Back in the 1970s or so. I mean, this was coming from a very kind of conservative, monogamous kind of a background, but it doesn't mean that these love languages, when they were written for a monogamous mindset, can transcend all types of love, because at the end of the day, as we've learned, love is love, and love is a journey, no matter what kind of a journey you're on, no matter what it looks like. And these 5 love languages would be hugely beneficial to anyone in a relationship.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, there are 5. We're going to start with, you were mentioning that your one is words of affirmation, mine as well.
Ooh.
I really...
Okay, you're very pretty.
I love you. Basically is Words of affirmation is, of course, expressed with words. What do you feel? It's expressed, but as well, it's not just like I love you, I love you. As well, it's like you know what? I valid your feelings. I valid that you are feeling this way. It's completely valid that you are sad today. Don't worry for that. Like you are doing amazing. You know, these kind of words that express.
I feel like you're saying that to me. I'm getting all tickly on the inside. It's like, oh, thank you.
It's just these words that to express what are you feeling. So for me, words of affirmation are very important because, like for me, my word is my bond. Like I really mean it when I say something. I cannot say something that I don't mean it. So when somebody say it to me, I feel that they have that kind of same level of respecting their words. So that's why for me, words of affirmation are one. I am between if it's my first one or my second. I think so is the best way that I receive love.
I suppose you don't really need to do a test. It's good to know, but you sort of know yourself intrinsically without even knowing what the 5 love languages would be. You know what you want and need from a partner.
Yeah, no, but I think you need to, like, it's easier when you realize which ones are them, because then you can find a category in it, and it's easier to request when you have a name on it, you know, than if it's just general and you're not conscious about it.
Well, absolutely. So words of affirmation, it'll be, so it's a verbal expression of love. So for me, saying things to you like, let's say you whip up an amazing meal, and I'm eating and I'm enjoying it and I'm telling you just how freaking awesome it is. Does that fall into words of affirmation?
Yeah, basically. Every expression that you do with your words about how you're feeling, like how appreciate all that surrounding that part is words of affirmation.
And what if I tell you you're looking really hot today?
Words of affirmation.
I love that outfit.
Thank you.
So in a polyamorous then context, in terms of words of affirmation, they can help keep everyone kind of connected, even when you can't be together physically. Let's say you have a long distance relationship. So giving these words of affirmation then over a long distance through text, through video calls, through, you know, just letting the other person know that they're appreciated, that they're being thought of.
Yeah, definitely is some love languages are more compatible with with long distance relationships. But just I would like to mention as well that this love language is at the end of the day for any type of relationship. It doesn't have to be monogamous, doesn't have to be polyamorous. It's just the way that people love. So yeah, for example, physical touch won't be really handy for someone in a long distance relationship.
Of course, you know? Yeah.
So words of affirmation is one of the more friendly for a distance relationship.
Would it be one of the most common ones?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, everyone likes getting compliments. Everyone likes to hear they're
I don't
handsome.
know if everybody likes to receive compliments.
Yeah.
That's the other part.
I have an issue with that. You know, I love to hear nice things, but then I also have an issue with receiving compliments, as you know. So if someone tells me good things about myself, and because of my own self-esteem issues, I may not believe what the person is saying to me, and although they mean it, then I can't take it on board. And they mean well with their words of affirmation, but not being able to receive them is another crux in the matter.
Yeah, and that's important to know how you give it and how you receive it. Because if you see, you like to use words of affirmation, but for you it's very difficult to receive words of affirmation. So that's why it's important to know them, because then you can be conscious about it and you can try to do something about it. Once that you are conscious about something, it's easier to work on it.
Interesting.
So the second love language, we could talk about it.
The second love sandwich. Love sandwich. Let's go make some of those. Let's make love sandwich. Love language. Love language. What is number 2?
Basically, could be presents. But we're not talking about the gift that is like, oh yeah, he gave me an iPhone and I
so
like
receiving gifts, is it?
Or giving gifts.
Giving.
Yeah,
okay.
Could be giving or receiving. But we're not talking here material things. Of course, can be material things if you want to. But it's more, at least for me, that's one of, I think so that could be my second love language. Here it comes to situations. One is the thought behind it, that is like when we were not close.
It's the old adage, the thought that counts in a gift.
Exactly. It's like we're not close, but I'm still thinking about you. So for me, it's important because, of course, when we are together, you are thinking like we're interacting, we're doing things together. But when we're in the distance and you're still thinking about me, it kind of make it for me more special. So that's how I receive the presents, gifts. And here's as well some like this one I think so is the least popular because many people are not, they have uncomfortable to receive presents.
Okay.
Like many people like to give presents but receive it.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
I think for us though, I'm not a big one on big gifts. I mean, I don't want someone to buy me a sports car to show they love me or a PlayStation 4 or whatever. But the other day when you came home, you were out. I can't remember. Where were you the other day? I can't remember.
I went to town.
You were out with your friend, out having a coffee or something, and you just came back with a single red rose. And you're the only person who's ever bought me flowers. And that means so much to me. It's just like, oh, the fact that you're out with a friend and you took that time and consideration to think of me, or even times when you go out for a meal and let's say you're eating something delicious with someone and you bring home just the last little bite of a portion so I can try it. That means so much to me.
Yes, exactly.
And it's even like with a friend, a connection of mine, where she gave me a little beaker of salt that she had got on a trip. And it's just like, that is really special. The fact that they would take the time to think of another person, think about, what's important to another person. Now it's only salt, but for me, it means a lot. I have it sitting here right beside me, actually. That's cool. Thank you, Hillary.
So basically, it's just, it's that part of, showing appreciation, like, and doesn't have to be something expensive for me, even if it's that you are walking and you see a rock that actually you just one you were walking and you see a rock and you
a heart-shaped rock, was it?
And I see you have it there. Like you say, look, I find this rock, and so it's more the intention behind the present. It doesn't matter if it's the present, it's just like I took the time to go and get you something, or I know that you don't eat sugar, but I bring you this chocolate without sugar, these kind of things.
Oh yeah, so there's the sentimentality behind it.
Exactly.
The idea of this is solely for another person that I'm thinking of specifically.
Exactly. Sometimes even can give hints for people that they are listening to you, they are like paying attention. So that's the nice part about gifts. And many people doesn't like to say, oh yeah, gifts, because it feels like, oh, if you want gifts, it's because you're a materialistic person.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And it's nothing to do with that.
But could it also be could you see a gift as someone writing a note and leaving it, or would that fall into words of affirmation? Or could it fall into both? Let's say we used to leave notes for each other every morning sitting on the fridge. Do you remember that? Where it'd be like you get up and the last one to go to bed would leave a scrawled note of just have a great day or something. Or when I was going into work, when I worked as a teacher, you'd be always leaving notes in my sandwiches. Like, so would that fall into gifts or words of affirmation or both? I mean, there is.
I think it will be a mix.
They're not rigid.
That's like because you can give a letter, So basically, it will be both because you are expressing your words of affirmation and you are giving a gift.
Interesting. Yeah.
So basically, that's the second one. The third one will be act of service. That you are very good on that one. I think
me. Yeah. Personally, okay.
Like you are amazing giving act of service.
Okay.
You are like every morning you do the tea for me.
I would never even think of it as a thing. It's just how I'm wired,
Yeah, but that's the way that you express love.
Oh, and for me, they're like words of affirmation. I'm getting tickly on the inside again.
Yes, you are like massive on that.
Okay.
Like I think so. That's your main one. But here is where it is interesting. Like for me, act of service, that type of act of service, are not my main language. I know that you express love that way, but for me, like it's not the way that I give love. Then it doesn't get as profound.
Oh yeah, so you don't feel it's anything special. Then you're just like it's got to be done.
I try to be conscious about it because I know that that's your love language. So I make it conscious, like an effort to make it conscious. But like naturally on me is not like that kind of love language, so it doesn't translate to.
I think we're crossing over there because I know that my love language of giving may be acts of service, but receiving I'm completely different on. Because when someone is doing something for me, I'm just like, well, they're going out of their way to do something for me when they could be doing something better with their time. And that's like, I'd sort of feel not a resentment, but like fear that they'd feel a resentment having to do something for me.
Yeah.
Whereas suppose I'm more than happy to do anything for anyone that I love.
Yeah, so for example, every morning that you do the tea for me, I know that I can go and do it myself. Sometimes that you are very busy, I just go and do it myself.
It wouldn't taste the same.
And you are like, no, why you did your
Exactly.
tea? That's my
I add
thing.
extra love in there. Just wouldn't taste the same.
So
You have to get that balance of sugars just right. You take 2 sugars in your tea, right? But they can't be heaped spoonfuls. No, they have to be just that slightly bit over that line.
exactly.
You know?
So basically, I know that that's the way that you express love.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot just come and take it over you. You know, like that's so. Although it's not the way that I express love,
Mm-hmm.
I try to be conscious that that's the way that you do it.
Yeah, but then also that feeds into my own as words of affirmations as a receiving. Because if I make you your cup of tea and you turn around and you go, oh, that's a lovely cup of tea. And I'm just like, I did a good job. And then I feel all tickly on the inside again.
Yeah, so, but here is just the important part, and that's very nice. That's the important part of being conscious about it. Because if I were not conscious about it, I would be like, oh, Carl doesn't love me because he just made me tea in the morning and he like...
Ah, okay, I see.
know,
Yeah,
it
so
can
so
go
these little things can be looked over so easily.
Exactly, because you can be doing all the... For example, for me, it's love affirmations. And I can say, you know what? The only thing I need to feel loved is that you tell me that you love me. But for you, it's not love of affirmation and it's just act of service. So you are making, like, doing the laundry, you are bringing a tea. But for me, like, that doesn't translate to love. I will be
Okay.
like, he doesn't love me at all because the only thing I need is that he tell me I love you. But like,
Because
say I
that's
love
not
you,
your
it's not your
receiving love
Exactly.
language. Okay,
You know, so,
interesting. But that then would then breed a resentment, let's say, where let's say, you know, grand picture, let's say I'm making your tea in the morning, but I'm also doing the washing, I'm also doing the dishes, I'm also doing this. And that's my way of wanting to receive then my words of affirmation. But then if your way of not giving is through words of affirmation, then within me, I could develop a resentment going, oh, I do all these things and I'm not appreciated.
That's why it's important to know.
Yeah, absolutely. To understand your partner's
exactly,
language.
Because
Yeah.
I could be just needing that you tell me I love you, and you can be just needing that you show appreciation and stuff like that. You know, but I don't know that you are like doing this from showing love because it's not the way I receive the language.
That's really interesting because, yeah, so, I mean, in order to even have, well, we've only covered words of affirmation and gifts right now, but even to cross those, you need to have open communication with your partner to understand how the other one ticks and
yeah, and
the wants and needs that are around.
Exactly, and remember, this one doesn't have to be like, you have to love me this way, and that's the other way. At the end of the day, you cannot use this tool as a weapon.
I'm never making tea again.
Has to be just like a understanding situation. And if your partner cannot give you your love language, for example, for me, when I'm making a connection, I like to receive a text sometimes just to keep knowing that we're still in touch and everything is fine. And I have been with connections that for them it's
alien to them.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely it doesn't mean anything. So I can request it, and they have been trying, but they didn't feel it. You know, they didn't even do it.
I suppose it comes down nature, nurture again, how people are raised, what their own view of reality is. I mean, all these things affect, you know, these love languages as well, because they may be incapable of even providing, you know, gifts or words of affirmation because it just doesn't cross their head. And then when you're expecting this in a relationship, you can then feel like, okay, well, maybe they don't like me at all.
Exactly, because you're expecting, like for me, I'm expecting that if they care for me, they will send me a text in the morning. But if for him, that's not a way to show interest, it's like, why I will do that. It just came confused that I had a situation that way. So here you have two options. You can request it. The other person can say no, and that's totally fine.
No.
Or you can say, you know what, let me try. But if a person is not giving you your love language, will be a point that you will feel that you will have to be requesting it all the time. You will feel extremely needy, and the other person will feel completely insufficient.
Okay.
So it comes to this dynamic that is very hard, and I don't feel that somebody is needy or somebody is insufficient. So basically, it's just incompatibility. Yes.
So that would lead to then an impasse in like any potential relationship.
Yeah, because basically, if for you, like, it's a physical touch and we're in a distance and we can never touch each other, that will be a very difficult relationship.
Fourth one is physical touch. Okay. That's a nice segue in there. So we're at a distance and your love language is physical touch. We're at a long distance relationship. So it's already, we're at sort of an impasse in our whole, the growth.
But let's say that physical touch is not just sexual. It's just basically holding hands. It's
a touch on the shoulder.
Exactly, a hug. It's like, for example, for me, I like a lot to be kind of passing my hand through the skin and stuff like that. So that's basically physical touch.
As you fall asleep from physical touch, I could be rubbing your forehead with my finger really light and you're out like a light. And it's like the greatest way to put you to sleep. Let's say we're having a conversation, I'm bored of this conversation, is just start rubbing a feather on your face.
So yeah, basically that one is like, I think so this one is the most popular for the most of the people.
Okay.
But because they related a lot with sexuality,
exactly.
It doesn't have to do nothing with sex. Can be just basically like holding hands, walking on the street. Can be just watching TV and feel the closeness to the other person. You know, so basically that's physical touch. So you have to see as well, like, how compatible is this love language with your partner.
But it's not just with partners as well, though. I mean, you could have these love languages amongst work colleagues. You can have them with friends and family as well. It's not just down to a love well, love is love, but it's not just down to, you know, a potentially sexual partner.
Well, yeah, no, definitely. Like, I think so, for example, like if your parents come and give you presents, maybe, because I think so it will have, and this is just completely my opinion, it will have like a impact as well when you were a kid, you know, the way that you were receiving love from your parents. I remember my dad was working all the time, but he will come sometimes with presents. You know, it will go be a bunny or will be like something that then I learned that.
Hold on, a bunny?
Yeah, you know how it's my dad. So basically like a small bunny or something.
He just brings home a live bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's 90s in Mexico. But for me, I learned in that way that, okay, my dad is busy working all the time. He cannot give me time. But when he's not with me, he think about me and he bring me a present.
Well, that's touching back onto gift giving again. But in terms of physical touch, though.
Yeah, physical touch as well. Like if your mom were giving you a hug. At the end of the day, like from each person, it goes different way. I would not like to go like deeper on
holding hands,
expressing your love through touching in a healthy way. Holding hands.
So it's not like going at it at the bus stop. It's just holding hands, hugging. You know, exactly. A kiss on the cheek, physical affection. Okay. But there are some countries in the world where it's completely not allowed. Remember when we were where were we? In Dubai or Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi, they said that we cannot be doing that.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, like it's different across the board in terms of cultures, how these public displays of affection are allowed or not allowed. And it's quite an interesting insight into humanity in a way, how what's acceptable for one culture, you know, to be holding hands walking down the street is completely alien and will get you looks like you're doing something insanely wrong in another country. Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, it's one of the languages.
There we go. It is one of the languages.
And the fifth one will be quality time.
Quality time.
That
there were sweets that used to be called. They were quality street, not quality time.
So basically, quality time is that spend time with you. Quality time, like for example, while I'm with you, I won't be using my phone at all, or like
that is very difficult for most people in this day and age.
I know. Or I will give you one day to focus on you. Like this one as well for me is not my main ones, because once again, I think this one comes from my dad always being working. So I know that my dad loved me, but he was able to see me very few quality time. So
a minimal amount of quality time.
Exactly. So So I never relate quality time with love.
So it's all about giving undivided attention. I mean, you can give someone attention that's grand while they're over the other side of the room while I'm working on doing my taxes or something. That's not quality time. It's about spending time with the person in the same mental headspace.
Yeah, for example, like you and I, we do that a lot. We can be in the same room, each one doing their own thing, but I still enjoy being in your company.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but I feel quality time goes a little bit deeper than that. You know, it's, I'm giving you my attention and my full attention to you.
Okay. So it's shared activities we both enjoy. Like, let's say we're both reading or something, or I could be, reading and you're listening to the music, but we're enjoying the same comfortable space.
Yeah, and I'm paying you attention and I'm dedicating this time for you. I'm giving you, like the name said, it's like time, like my quality time with you, not just doing random things and be present without being present.
So it's like deep, meaningful conversations, like making a podcast. Would that be quality time? Ooh, we're spending some quality time together.
So yeah, basically that's the fifth one. Like maybe you can analyze yourself and see which one you feel more that it aligns better with you. It's not like, oh yeah, I want to have the fifth one, the five of them like this. I receive and give love in many ways. No, because at the end of the day, the most of the people will receive love, will interpret their love like in some matters, but we always have one or two that are the most important for us.
I suppose you could also practice these love languages on yourself. I mean, on a personal level. I mean, words of affirmation, I mean, to tell yourself nice things about yourself instead of berating yourself, like, is the dark place a lot of us just tend to go to.
Yeah.
Give yourself little gifts. Bring yourself out for a nice cup of coffee. Spend quality time with yourself. Physical touch, let's not get into that one. And what else was the other one?
Yeah, so basically words of affirmation, you can give it to yourself. Presence, you can give it to yourself. Quality time, you can give it to yourself. Physical touch, any one way you can give it to yourself. And no, actually, I feel it. Like, I like to be rubbing my own arm when I feel that it's so.
You're just sitting there rubbing your arm.
Exactly, I love to rub my arm.
I'm sitting there scratching. It's like, like giving yourself like.
My arm is soft, so it's like, oh.
Self-touch is like, no, I've just got a rash.
Exactly, like, I love give my hugs to myself.
So in order to develop, let's go back to couples. So in order to develop these. To understand what your partner's love language might be. I mean, so the main thing in this would be just to communicate openly. To be honest about what your wants and needs and how you might feel appreciated through XXX or whatever they may do, whatever the love language, whatever it means to you, and you can communicate with your partner that way.
Well, we'll go back again to this part of, for healthy and ethical relationships, we need to know ourselves. To like this, we can have a healthy relationship, because if for me, I don't know that the words of affirmation are my main way to receive love, how the hell you will know that's that if I don't even know it myself?
Absolutely. So it's a matter of understanding oneself love yourself in order to feel love.
It's not that much. It's more like information and knowledge is power. So between you know yourself better,
and consent is key.
Between you know more about yourself, you have more power about yourself and how you want love, how you express it, to stay in a relationship where they are giving you exactly what you want and you need. And when you can identify that relationship is not giving you that, you can make the change in an easier way, because you know exactly what you want. Okay,
but from a non-ethical point of view, could these love languages be manipulated in such a way to manipulate a person?
At the end of the day, I think so any tool can be used that way. You can see I'm showing you here the way I want to be loved.
Yeah, so let's say I know that your love language is words of affirmation. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I know this now. So I'm just going to keep feeding her words of affirmation so she falls head over heels for me.
Well, but then you are getting into a territory of narcissistic.
That's what I mean. So,
yeah, of course.
So they can be used in a...
That's why as well you have to be careful as well with the person that you are and see...
and set your own boundaries.
Exactly, So it goes completely to a different topic, but I feel that with a healthy person that want to build a relationship with you and want to grow something new, knowing this tool can be very handy.
That's interesting, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, very good.
So what else, is there anything else you would like to add into our words of affirmation, or any nuggets of advice, or any, self anecdotes that's happened with you, or anything going on right now?
No, basically, I think so. It's always nice to know this, especially when you are starting a new relationship, because it's a clear path to understand each other in a nicer way, in an easier way, and see if we are compatible or not. At the end of the day, relationships is one thing is the attraction, the connection, compatibility, a commitment, and I think so. What's the other one? So once that is the physical attraction, once that is the connection there, you have to see the compatibility. See if we are compatible together or not, because attraction and physical and connection is not enough. We have to see if what we want is compatible or not. And after that is the commitment, and see if that person can commit and can continue growing whatever you want to grow. But you cannot pass to that point if you don't know if you are compatible or not. Or you can pass, but it's not a very secure relationship.
But then also misunderstanding each other's love languages could lead to a host of crazy arguments. Because, one person could feel, well, as you mentioned earlier on, I'm not being listened to, I'm not being heard, I'm not feeling this. And the other person be like, well, I'm doing these 3 love languages, which is natural to me without even thinking about it. And they're expecting another 2 that the partner's not doing. And then all of a sudden it's...
Yeah, but that's what we're saying. Like, at the end of the day, you cannot give the 5 love languages.
So it is, once again, communication.
Yeah, it's communication. It's saying like that's why you need to know if you're compatible or not. Because if my love language is A and your one is D, so basically maybe won't be able to compatible. Some of them are really compatible between each other. Other ones not that much. So that's the part where you are knowing the person. That's why you are dating the person and see what can work and can not work.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting perspective on the whole lot of it. I think we've covered our languages of love. Now let's go for a sandwich of love. Love sandwich.
Very good.
Okie dokie. Well, you've been listening to PolyAmAreWe episode 7 already. That's like a week worth of episodes if I released one a day. That'd be cool. If you would like to be a guest on the show, or if you have an interesting story you'd like to share for us to dive into, feel free to email us at polyamarewepodcast@gmail.com. And in the meantime, enjoy the journey.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Love you lots.
Bye. 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 Bye.